The Zytrians ruled the outer sectors of the Virelia cluster with confidence. Their ships moved in precise formations, sensors scanning every corner of space, and their fleets were unmatched in speed and coordination. For centuries, no species had dared to challenge them. The galaxy, to the Zytrians, seemed orderly, predictable, and entirely under their control. On the edge of their territory, a small fleet of Zytrian scout ships drifted through the void, scanning planets and asteroids. Commander Rilnath watched the displays in quiet focus. "Commander," said Lieutenant Zara, her voice tight with curiosity, "our sensors are picking up something unusual. It's moving fast. Faster than any vessel we know. Energy signature is unfamiliar." Rilnath leaned forward, his multi-limbed hands dancing over the holographic console. A shimmering line streaked across the display, moving in a way that defied typical propulsion patterns. "Unfamiliar energy?" Rilnath repeated, his tone cautious. "Explain." "It's difficult to describe," Zira admitted. "It appears to cloak itself in energy, but not like the standard stealth units. It's controlled, intelligent, purposeful." Rilnath's compound eyes narrowed. "Purposeful?" "Yes, Commander. This is no natural phenomenon. No comet, no rogue ship. It moves with intention. And it's massive. Larger than any warship we have catalogued." Rilnath felt a chill he had not experienced in decades of patrols. The Zytrians were confident, but something about this object disturbed him. "Prepare the scouts," he ordered. "We need to intercept and analyze. Signal it for identification." Meanwhile, far from Zytrian territory, the vessel itself moved steadily through the darkness. It was large, imposing, yet elegant. Its design was unlike anything in the known galaxy, with smooth lines and a structure that combined function and beauty. On its bridge, Captain Elias Varen watched the displays with calm determination. "Approaching Sector Xi-7, he said. His voice carried authority, tempered by the quiet confidence of experience. "Maintain course and energy output at current levels. Keep sensors active but passive. No aggressive readings." Lieutenant Arya Kane, a young officer with bright eyes and quick reflexes, leaned over a console, scanning readings. "Captain, we're entering their patrol zone. Zytrian fleet presence is active. Do we make contact?" Varen shook his head slightly. "Not yet. Observe. Learn. They know the galaxy as they see it. Let's see how they react to us before we make ourselves known. First impressions matter." The humans had come to this part of the galaxy not to conquer, but to explore. To demonstrate that intelligence and capability were not limited to any one species. They carried no weapons ready to fire, no fleets following them. Their presence alone would be enough to astonish. Back on the Zytrian patrol, the fleet's sensors had begun analyzing the anomaly. "Commander," Zara said again, her voice tinged with disbelief, "it's responding to our scans, but not in any way we understand. Energy pulses, almost intelligent, like a pattern, deliberate." Rilnath's multiple eyes widened. "Intelligent? Are you suggesting it is alive?" "It might be, Commander. Or piloted by a species we have never catalogued. Its signals, they are precise, logical, but not Zytrian. Not anything we know." The fleet moved cautiously, forming a semicircle around the streak of light approaching their sensors. The strange ship did not hide or retreat. It moved with confidence, maintaining its course directly toward the Zytrian fleet. "Commander, it's not evasive," Zira noted. "It's approaching. Intentionally." Rilnath felt a strange tension. All his experience told him to prepare for conflict. But his instincts whispered something different. This was not a normal encounter. On the human warship, the crew worked with quiet efficiency. Every officer understood their role. The systems responded with seamless precision, and the vessel itself seemed almost alive under their touch. "Energy field stable," reported Arya. Shields at 40%, power to engines steady. Sensors are receiving interference from unknown sources, probably Zytrian scanning, nothing hostile yet. Good, Captain Varen said. Keep course steady. Let them see us. No sudden movements. Let curiosity guide them. Not fear. The humans had studied Zytrian behavior from afar. They knew the aliens valued order, predictability, and technological mastery. Showing restraint and capability at the same time would leave a lasting impression. The first Zytrian scout approached the human vessel cautiously, emitting signals meant to communicate. They expected a reply in kind, perhaps an acknowledgement, perhaps a warning. Instead, the human ship responded in a way that defied Zytrian logic. Pulses of energy radiated from the vessel, forming patterns that conveyed intelligence, order, and something else. Harmony, perhaps, or confidence. Rilnath watched the readings on his console, unable to fully comprehend. They responded. Not with words, not with weapons, but with patterns. Energy patterns. Intentional. Zara leaned closer. It's beautiful, Commander, and precise. Almost like music in space. But in a way, we understand logically. The Zytrians debated silently among themselves, their usual arrogance giving way to confusion and fascination. This species, whatever it was, had capabilities that the Zytrians had never seen, yet it showed no aggression, no sign of hostility. Rilnath made a decision. Maintain current distance. Observe. Prepare for communication if possible. But do not act hostile. This is something new. Something unprecedented. In the human command center, Varen observed the fleet's reactions through the sensors. They're cautious, he noted. Curious, but cautious. That's exactly what we expected. Arya. Prepare a non-aggressive energy display. Something they cannot ignore. Something they will admire. Arya's fingers moved over the controls. The ship responded like a living organism. Lights pulsed. Energy streams shifted in patterns. And a radiant display unfolded across the void around them. It was a dance of light and logic, a silent demonstration of capability, intelligence, and artistry. On the Zytrian side, sensors recorded the display. Silence fell over the command consoles. For the first time in generations, the Zytrians were not entirely sure of their superiority. Commander, Zara whispered. It's magnificent. And it's showing us... What? Rilnath took a deep breath. It is showing us that we do not understand everything. That there are beings capable of thought, creativity, and coordination beyond our comprehension. That is terrifying. For hours, the human ship and Zytrian fleet observed one another. No shots were fired. No threats were made. The humans demonstrated their capabilities quietly, efficiently, and beautifully. While the Zytrians struggled to process what they were witnessing, it was not fear alone that gripped them, it was awe. A deep, unsettling awe that forced them to rethink what they believed about the galaxy. A single human vessel, operating with nothing more than intelligence, teamwork, and mastery of technology, had stunned an entire civilization. Rilnath finally spoke, his voice heavy with uncharacteristic humility. We must report this to the High Council. Whatever this human is, it represents a turning point. We cannot treat them as we do others. We must study them, understand them, learn from them before it is too late. Zara nodded. I agree, Commander. This is unlike anything we have encountered. As the human vessel moved on, continuing its journey deeper into Zytrian space, the aliens followed at a careful distance. They had not faced a threat, nor had they faced a friend. They had faced something new, something that would change their understanding of the galaxy forever. Captain Varen stood quietly on the bridge, watching the readings. They saw us, he said softly. They know we exist. That's enough for now. Curiosity will do the rest. Arya smiled. Do you think they'll follow us? Perhaps, Varen replied. Or perhaps they'll tell their own people. Either way, we've made an impression. That is the first step. The galaxy is beginning to notice humans, and in the darkness of deep space, a silent message traveled ahead of the human vessel, a promise of intelligence, courage, and cooperation. The kind that could astonish even the most advanced civilizations. The Zytrians would never forget this encounter. A single Terran human warship had arrived in their space, and the galaxy, as they knew it, had changed forever. The Zytrians had never seen anything like it. For generations, they had studied the stars, catalogued countless species, and refined their fleets to perfection. Yet here was a single human warship moving through their territory, leaving a trail of confusion and awe in its wake. Commander Rilnath paced in the observation chamber of his flagship. Holographic displays showed the human ship drifting across space, performing maneuvers that were precise, elegant, and, most unnervingly, completely non-aggressive. Why do they not attack? Lieutenant Zira asked for the 100th time, frustration mixed with wonder in her voice. They have the power to dominate us, yet they do nothing. Why? Rilnath considered this carefully. Because, Zara, they are not like other species. They do not measure power by destruction. They measure it by skill, by efficiency, by knowledge. We have never encountered that. The human ship continued its quiet journey, sensors scanning, mapping, and recording. The humans had studied Zytrian communication protocols from afar, and now they were ready to demonstrate intelligence in a way the aliens could not ignore. On board the human warship, Lieutenant Arya Kane leaned over a console, watching the Zytrian fleet's reactions. They're watching us, she said, her voice calm. Their sensors are active. They're trying to understand our energy patterns, but they can't. Captain, I think they've never seen anything like this before. Captain Elias Varen nodded. Good. Let them try to understand. That is the point. They will learn that humans operate differently. We don't just rely on strength. We rely on intelligence, teamwork, and adaptability. Prepare a demonstration, non-aggressive, but impressive. Arya smiled. Already in progress, sir. The human ship's main hull glowed with energy as systems coordinated in perfect harmony. Pulses of light formed patterns in space. Shifting in geometric precision, the patterns rotated, expanded, and intertwined, creating a display that was both logical and beautiful. From the Zytrian observation chamber, the display appeared as nothing short of a miracle. Energy waves pulsed with a rhythm they could feel but not fully interpret. Each movement seemed intentional, yet it carried no threat. Lieutenant Zira's mandibles clicked softly. Commander, it's astonishing. It's communicating without words, without weapons. And yet, we understand its meaning. Or at least, we feel it. It's order, intelligence, and harmony. Rilnath did not speak at first. He studied the patterns, trying to decipher the logic behind them. His multiple eyes reflected the holographic lights. Finally, he said quietly, "They are showing us what they can do. Not to destroy us, but to teach us that there are different forms of power. We must reconsider everything we thought we knew." For days, the Zytrians followed the human ship, careful not to interfere. The humans moved with intention and care, demonstrating efficiency in every maneuver. They collected data, scanned planets, and even identified resources in asteroid fields with speed and precision that left Zytrian scientists scrambling to analyze. Arya Kane noticed the Zytrians' curiosity. "Captain," she said, "they're watching closely. I can tell from the interference patterns. They're trying to mimic our energy sequences. They're curious, maybe even impressed." Varen allowed a small smile. "Let them be impressed. That is what we want. Intelligence will earn respect far more than weapons. We must always remember that. Prepare another display." one that shows problem-solving in real time. The human crew set to work. Arya designed a scenario. A complex asteroid cluster, where the ship would navigate without touching any object, using only calculated energy pulses and precise maneuvers. The Zytrians could observe but could not interfere. When the display began, the human ship moved like a living organism. Every motion was calculated, every energy pulse perfectly timed. Within minutes, the vessel navigated the asteroid field flawlessly, leaving trails of light that mapped its journey in stunning geometric designs. The Zytrians gasped well, the closest equivalent to a gasp in their species. Their logic-driven minds struggled to comprehend the display. Commander Rilnath's voice trembled slightly as he spoke. They did not collide once. They anticipated every movement. It is genius. Pure genius. Zara leaned closer to the console, mandibles clicking. And yet, no attack, no dominance. Just skill. Just intelligence. I do not understand. Are they not warriors? Rilnath shook his head slowly. They are something more than warriors. They are creators, problem solvers, explorers. Their strength is not in weapons. It is in their mind, and in how they work together. That is what terrifies me. Meanwhile, the humans had begun to experiment with Zytrian communication signals. By observing the alien patterns, they discovered a way to respond in kind, without breaking the rules of peaceful conduct. Arya devised a method: subtle pulses, alternating frequency, forming shapes and sequences that conveyed understanding. A Zytrian ship responded cautiously, sending back a series of signals, trying to mimic the humans' display. For the first time, the aliens attempted communication not as a command or threat, but as curiosity, Varen observed. They're trying to communicate. Let's encourage it. But keep it clear and respectful. Humans can lead with intellect. Arya adjusted the pulses, forming patterns that represented logic, sequencing, and intelligence. The human ship did not dominate the communication. It guided it. Slowly, the Zytrians began to understand. For hours, humans and Zytrians exchanged signals, not words, not violence, but a conversation of thought and calculation. Each pattern from the humans carried meaning: cooperation, adaptability, curiosity. Each Zytrian response reflected growing comprehension. In the Zytrian council chambers, scientists and leaders gathered, projecting the human displays onto massive screens. Discussion was heated. This is unlike any species we have catalogued, a senior scientist said. They show understanding of energy, motion, and space that surpasses our theories. And yet, no aggression. None. Another council member added, their coordination is flawless. Observe how each action complements the previous. It is teamwork, and we cannot replicate it. Our fleets cannot move like this. Rilnath remained silent, watching. They are teaching us without teaching. They are showing us possibilities we never considered. We must learn, and we must be cautious. Underestimating them would be catastrophic. But we must also admire them. Admiration was a new feeling for the Zytrians. They were used to conquest, dominance, and control. They were not used to being impressed or to recognizing a species that could rival them in subtle, non-violent ways. Back on the human vessel, Varen gathered his officers. They are fascinated, he said. Curiosity is the strongest force in the universe. We have used it well. They will follow, study, and talk among themselves. That is the first step toward understanding. But we must remain patient, one demonstration at a time. Arya nodded. They are learning faster than we expected. Some of their calculations. They are trying to imitate our sequences. They may be adapting already. Good, Varen said. That is exactly what we want. Respect through intelligence, not fear. Remember, humans do not conquer by weapons. Humans conquer by curiosity, cooperation, and skill. That is how we inspire, and it is how we teach. The human crew continued their journey, leaving small but deliberate signs of presence on uninhabited planets and in asteroid clusters. They did not interfere, did not claim territory, but demonstrated efficiency, intelligence, and care. Each move was calculated to leave the Zytrians in awe. In Zytrian space, news of the human ship spread. Reports flooded from every sensor array. Scientists, fleet commanders, and scholars debated endlessly. "Have we underestimated them?" a fleet officer asked nervously. "They are not like anything we have seen," Rilnath replied. "They do not fight like we do. They do not react like we do. And yet, they are more capable than any single fleet in our history. They think in ways we cannot predict," Zera added softly. "And they do not seem to desire conflict. Only exploration. And yet their skill makes them powerful in ways we cannot measure." Rilnath nodded. "Exactly. That is why we must study them, understand them, perhaps even learn from them. The galaxy may be larger, stranger, and more remarkable than we imagined." As the days passed, the humans and Zytrians continued their silent, indirect interaction. The aliens followed at a careful distance, unable to resist observing the displays of intelligence, cooperation, and creativity. The humans continued to move through space, leaving no harm, only wonder. On the human bridge, Varen looked at the displays. They are curious. They are learning. They are astonished. That is all we can ask. Curiosity will carry them forward. And we will be remembered not as conquerors, but as a species that inspires. Arya smiled quietly. "It's strange, Captain. They are so advanced, yet they react to us as if we are a mystery." "Exactly," Varen said. "And that is the power of humanity. Not weapons, not fleets, but the mind, cooperation, adaptability. That is how humans astonish the galaxy." And so, across the vast darkness of Zytrian space, a single human warship moved steadily onward, demonstrating intelligence, patience, and creativity. The Zytrians followed, studying, analyzing, and marveling, slowly realizing that the humans were unlike any species they had ever known. The galaxy, as the Zytrians understood it, had already begun to change. A new chapter was starting, one where curiosity, ingenuity, and cooperation could astonish civilizations, reshape understanding, and redefine the meaning of power. And humanity, calm and deliberate, was at the center of it. The neutral station hovered silently near an unclaimed star, a hub for species who preferred observation over conflict. It was designed for diplomacy and trade, with massive observation windows and automated systems capable of hosting multiple civilizations at once. This was where the humans had chosen to invite the Zytrians for the first official meeting. On board the station, Zytrian scholars, fleet commanders, and council delegates gathered. They were tense, unsure what to expect. The humans had already demonstrated remarkable skill, intelligence, and patience. But meeting face to face, or in this case, ship to ship, was another matter entirely. Commander Rilnath's eyes scanned the station's observation panel. The Terran human warship approached with measured grace. Its energy displays calm, precise, and confident. Every officer, every pulse, radiated intelligence. This was no weapon. This was a symbol. "They are approaching," Zera whispered, her voice a mix of excitement and caution. I do not know what to expect, Commander. They have already astonished us." "What now?" Rilnath remained silent for a moment, then said, "Observe. That is all we can do. Let them speak first, not with words, but with actions." On the human ship, Captain Elias Varen stood at the command bridge, watching the Zytrians arrive at the station. His officers were calm, trained, and precise. "Position the ship in the docking bay orbit," he ordered. "Prepare for demonstration and dialogue. Remember, this is not a display of power, This is a display of cooperation, problem-solving, and intelligence. Lieutenant Arya Kane adjusted the energy fields around the ship. Captain, the Zytrians are curious, almost anxious. Their fleet is holding back, observing, waiting. They do not know what to expect. Crom, good, Varen replied. Let them feel intelligence without threat. That is our greatest strength. As the human ship entered the station's observation orbit, the crew initiated the first demonstration. Using the station's environmental systems, the humans projected energy patterns into space around the station, forming intricate, harmonious shapes. The lights danced and moved, showing sequences that represented logic, cooperation, and intelligence. For the Zytrians, it was breathtaking. They had expected a warship to bring fear, or at least command. Instead, it brought understanding. They are teaching us, Rilnath murmured, barely believing his own observation. Without words, without weapons, just intelligence. Inside the station, the humans prepared a demonstration of practical problem-solving. The station's main power core had been running at reduced efficiency due to minor malfunctions in its cooling system, a challenge designed to test observation rather than repair. Arya Kane and her team moved quickly, analyzing the system. Within minutes, they identified inefficiencies, rerouted energy flows, and optimized operations. The station's system stabilized, efficiency improved, and lights brightened across the observation decks. The Zytrians recorded every action. Fleet commanders, scientists, and scholars could not hide their astonishment. They fixed it. In minutes, one officer whispered. Our best engineers could take days. Rilnath nodded slowly, his compound eyes reflecting the data streams. And they did it without coercion, without taking control of the station. They improved it. Respectfully. Efficiently. And with intelligence. It was more than skill. It was an example of cooperation, humility, and understanding. Traits the Zytrians had never fully appreciated. After the demonstration, a communication interface opened between the humans and Zytrian delegates. Unlike the usual hierarchical messages, this was an exchange based on mutual comprehension. Humans sent structured energy pulses that mirrored Zytrian patterns, but added subtle variations showing understanding, reasoning, and logic. Rilnath's translators struggled to decode the pulses. Slowly, patterns began to form meaning. The humans were expressing respect for intelligence, desire for knowledge exchange, recognition of cooperation as a universal principle. It was unlike anything the Zytrians had ever experienced. They responded cautiously, mirroring the pulses back, and a conversation unfolded not with words, but with intelligence itself. This is incredible, Zira whispered. We are communicating, learning, understanding, and they are teaching us? Rilnath leaned back. They are not just teaching. They are showing that understanding and respect are as powerful as weapons. That is why we must take this seriously. Humanity is remarkable. The humans then invited Zytrian scientists aboard the warship's observation deck. It was a calculated gesture, an opportunity for the aliens to see the humans' operations firsthand, to witness their cooperation, problem-solving, and organization. The Zytrians approached hesitantly. They were used to evaluating other species as threats or resources. This was different. Inside the human ship, everything was clean, orderly, and functional. Each station was manned by officers coordinating seamlessly. Displays showed data from multiple systems, navigation, energy, communications all flowing in harmony. Humans moved efficiently, their actions complementing one another, like the parts of a single organism. A Zytrian scientist, Leth Kara, observed quietly. They are synchronized. Every action has meaning. Every movement is deliberate. Yet they are not controlling us. They allow observation. They allow learning. Arya Kane approached, her tone calm and welcoming. We do not conquer by fear. We learn by understanding. You are welcome to observe. Ask questions, and participate if you wish. That is how humans share knowledge. Lethkara's eyes widened. This is unlike any species we have encountered. They lead by example, not by command. They teach without force. Varen smiled faintly. That is the Terran way. Intelligence, cooperation, curiosity. We hope you see the value in this approach. The galaxy has room for many civilizations, but respect and understanding are what make coexistence possible. Over the next several hours, humans and Zytrians explored shared knowledge. The aliens asked questions about navigation techniques, energy optimization, and problem-solving strategies. The humans demonstrated carefully, ensuring clarity and respect for Zytrian customs. Every interaction left the Zytrians more astonished. They had never encountered a species that combined intelligence, creativity, and cooperation so effectively. And yet, the humans were humble. There was no arrogance, no attempt to dominate, only demonstration and exchange. Rilnath could not hide his amazement. We have underestimated them for centuries. They are not just another species, they are innovators, problem solvers, and teachers. Their presence alone will change how we view the galaxy, Zhera added quietly, and they have done it without threat. No weapons, no force, just intelligence and cooperation. The Zytrians slowly began to recognize a truth they had resisted. Humanity was a species to be respected, not feared. Their ingenuity and teamwork made them extraordinary, and their humility made them unforgettable. As the human ship prepared to depart, Captain Varen addressed the Zytrian delegates one final time through the station's communication interface. We leave not as conquerors, not as masters, but as explorers. Observe, learn, and grow. We hope that what you have seen inspires understanding and cooperation. The galaxy is vast, and intelligence thrives where curiosity and respect guide it. Humanity's path is one of exploration and knowledge, and we invite all species to join in discovery, not conflict. The Zytrians recorded every word, every pulse, every nuance of communication. They had not only witnessed humanity, they had experienced it. Rilnath's voice was soft, yet carried weight. We will remember this day. The arrival of humans in our space marks a turning point. We will study them, learn from them, and perhaps one day, work alongside them. Their presence is a gift of knowledge, not a threat. That is a lesson we will never forget. As the human warship moved away from the station, its energy pulses fading into the darkness, the Zytrians observed silently. For the first time, they felt awe, admiration, and hope, all directed at a species they had barely begun to understand. Do you think they will return? Zhera asked softly. They may, Rilnath replied. Or perhaps they will continue their journey through the galaxy, leaving signs of intelligence, cooperation, and skill. Either way, the galaxy has changed. Humanity has arrived, and we will never view the stars in the same way again. The human ship disappeared into the void, leaving behind a galaxy newly aware of their potential. The Zytrians would debate, study, and remember this encounter for generations. Humanity had demonstrated the power of intelligence, creativity, and cooperation. They had astonished an entire civilization without firing a single shot, and across the stars, a quiet truth settled in the minds of the Zytrians. The galaxy was larger, stranger, and more extraordinary than they had ever imagined. Humanity was not just another species, it was a beacon of ingenuity, patience, and understanding. The human warship continued its journey, calm, deliberate, and confident, leaving behind not fear or destruction, but curiosity, respect, and inspiration. The galaxy had been introduced to a species that could astonish civilizations simply by being human. For the Zytrians, this was only the beginning.